Lesson 7. Failure is not the end, it's your teacher. Failure, the word itself can send shivers down your spine, especially in uni where grades may feel like the measure of our worth. But let me tell you what university has taught me. Failure is not the end of your story. Failure is just a comma to the sentence of your life. It's not a verdict on your potential. No, it's not. It's not a verdict on your potential. Failure is there to remind you, hey, you have done your part, but you have not done it well. But thank you so much for showing up. Failure is not a comma to your life. Failure is not a sentence. It's a comma to the sentence of your life. It's there to remind you that there's more to learn. I remember there's a day that failure came knocking on my door, and failure, guys, tests like shit. Failure tests like shit. I remember it was in second year, when it was in a finance class. There was a unit that seemed tailor-made to humble even the brightest mind. Yes, I walked into the exam room convinced that I had revised, that I was prepared for that exam. You know how you walk to an exam room, especially if you've studied the whole night. You're walking, your head is high, and you're convinced that as much as the unit looks hard, you have done your part. So I walked to the exam room with my head held high, convinced that I had done my part. But when the results came out, reality hit me like a ton of bricks. I had failed. Yes, failure tests like shit, you guys. I remember looking at that grade in disbelief. My confidence crumbled. My mind spiraled. What if I'm not cut out of this? What if I don't belong here? You ask yourself all those questions. What if I don't belong here? And then there's shame that comes with failing. You look at yourself and you think, it sounds as though it's written on your forehead. You got a fail. You got an F. And it's here for the world to see. Here's where the story takes a turn. After wallowing in self-doubt, after throwing myself pity parties, after crying rivers, I decided to face my reality. I decided to face my failure head on like a mirror that doesn't lie. So I sat down with myself trying to find out what really happened. And you see, when you stop playing victim, that is when you start seeing clearly. That is when I asked myself what really happened, I realized that what happened is that I avoided the deep work. Yes, I avoided the deep work and I left it saying that I could do it later. And then now as time moves so fast, there was no later. That is when I failed. But failure should not be the end of your story. I picked myself up and I decided to go retake the unit. Now with fresh eyes looking at, I poured myself in the notes like my life depended on it, because my life depended on that unit. I told you that you cannot graduate even if you failed even a single unit. Even just that random cut that a lecturer gives you in class. So I poured my heart on those notes, like my life depended on it. Yeah, and I asked questions. I consulted. I went back and looked at the notes with fresh eyes. And let me tell you guys, when I sat again for that exam, I passed. And my victory wasn't about me being able to pass those finance questions. It was about me being able to conquer my fears, me being able to conquer my pride. I had turned a setback into a setup for a comeback. And I was so proud of myself. And not everyone sees failure as that. I know there are students who were afraid to retake units because of, you see, that judgment of people looking at them and then thinking that they're stupid. You cannot tell me that if there are students who think that when they come from national schools, they they're expected to stay on the top. No. Primary is different from high school. It's different from uni. Yeah, totally different. So there are students who did not get to the finish line, not because they were stupid, but they let this stupid lie of failure defines you. No, here's the truth. Failure doesn't define you. What you do after failure, that is what now that defines you. Thomas Edison, you guys know Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison famously said, I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that won't work. What if we looked at our failure as redirection? You have not failed, but you have found ways that won't work. Thomas tried 10,000 times before he finally succeeded. 10,000, guys, 10,000 times before he finally succeeded. And now one fail, you want to quit your studies? No, it's not fair. What if we look at this failure as a redirection? You have found one more way that won't work. And then now you start looking at that thing, that issue with fresh eyes. What if we looked at failure like Thomas Edison? Not as a dead end, but as a redirection. What if we looked at it as you trying, you getting out of your comfort zone and daring to push through uncharted territories? Not as a dead end, not as the end of your life, not as something that defines your life. So I want to encourage you guys, whenever you fail, take heart, dust yourself, pick your lesson, and move forward. Yeah. Don't let that failure define you. Don't let it to define you. Failure is not a reflection of your worth. No. Failure is a proof that you're trying. And it takes effort, resilience, and time to get anything of substance get done. Every time you fall short, ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I grow? Because every stumble is preparing you for a stride that will take you farther than you can ever imagine. Yeah? Let failure, you see, I look at failure as when you have failed, you see, like now I am telling you the story about me passing that. When I retook that exam, how I passed it. Failure makes our triumph worth telling. So every time you fall short, dust yourself, pick yourself up, and move forward. Greatness is waiting for you on the other side.